How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all having a good day. At the end of the last video, I said I was going to give something away to a random person who commented on it. So here we are with the YouTube random comment picker. 45 different people left comments, so you got a 1 in 45 chance of winning, and here I was just going to pick one random one. And the winner is Ben Woodcock. So Ben Woodcock, if you're watching this, just send me a message to gettingyournerdon13@gmail.com and I will get something out in the mail for you. So thank you guys for watching, and now let's start the video. Okay, so first off, we're going to check out some packages that I got from eBay. The first one here cost me $8 shipped. Now, you might remember this game from being in the pawn shop in the last video where it was $14, I believe. This is the last Mickey Mouse game that I needed from the 16-bit era. It's World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Nothing crazy, it's just a game I didn't have, and I've actually never even played this game, so it's one that I wanted to check out. So yeah, I thought $8 shipped was a fine price. The guy wanted $13, I offered him $8, and he took it. World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck was developed by Sega and released in 1992 exclusively for the Sega Genesis. It's the third game released in the Illusion series, which also contains Castle of Illusion, Land of Illusion, and Legend of Illusion. This is a single-player or co-op platformer where you're able to play as either Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. The game has 5 stages and awards you a new spell after defeating each end-level boss. Okay, next up is a game that we're going to check off the shoot 'em up list for the Sega Genesis. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm trying to go for a full set of shmups on the Genesis. I'm down to needing, I think, 10 or less than 10, and I'm not sure why the person sent this FedEx Express because this game only cost $9 including shipping. Now, this is one that I really never had heard of before I looked at the shoot 'em up list. This is Atomic Robo Kid. This game does get quite a bit of hate, specifically for the size of the sprite. It is a bit big, but it's not crazy big. There is a PC Engine version of this game that most people say to get because it is actually completely reworked. And there's also an arcade version. I've actually never seen it, but those are different ways to play it, but I did need this one for the Shmup collection. Atomic Robo Kid was developed by UPL and released between 1988 and 1990 in the arcade, as well as for the Sega Genesis, PC Engine, and PC. The game is a side-scrolling shoot 'em up that spans 6 levels with multiple branching paths. Robo Kid can choose between 4 different weapons, as well as pick up a shield and gain speed power-ups. And here's the last of the eBay packages. Now this cost me $22 shipped. I must have saw it as soon as it went up. This comes with 3 pieces and you almost never find them together when you do find any of this stuff. And this is a little beat up and used, but we're going to clean it up right here in this video. And here's the sensor. This is a WaveBird. This plugs directly into the GameCube. And here's the controller. You can see it's beat up, it's been used, it needs a new thumbstick cover, but that's what we're going to do right now. And then on the back you see it does have the battery cover, and inside there's no corrosion. So overall, I mean, it's been used, but it's in pretty nice shape. So let's clean this thing up now. And there it is, all cleaned up. Looks a whole lot nicer than it did before. Just make sure all the buttons push down and come back up, nothing sticks and everything works the way it should, and then test it in the GameCube, and there you go. So here's my like quarterly Craigslist score. I don't score too often on there, but every now and then I do find something good. Here's an ad for DuckTales 2 for the Game Boy for $10. I messaged the guy, asked him if he would take 7. He gladly accepted that. Here it is. It's in pretty nice shape. Now this is a game I don't see that often anymore. I remember seeing it at a local game store a while ago for pretty cheap, and I left it behind. When I went the next time, it was gone. The old Capcom, DuckTales, and Disney afternoon games are all really good, and this one is no exception. So this is a game that I had been looking for. I was just really excited to find it, and at $7, it was a steal. DuckTales 2 was published by Capcom in 1993 for both the Nintendo Game Boy and NES. The game is a platformer, and like its prequel, it allows you to choose between different levels instead of having a linear stage order. Unlike the first game, you can return to previously completed levels to obtain more items and money. Throughout the levels, you will find treasures that award you different abilities. The controls have been reworked to enhance the cane pogo as well as using the cane for in-game events. So when I was picking up DuckTales, I asked the guy if he had anything else. He brought this game out, which is Wheel of Fortune Family Edition. Now this game is worthless. He wanted $3. I offered him $2, which was probably still too much, but I figured that this game is filthy and we could take it apart and clean it right in a video and you guys can see how it's done. So yeah, let's do that now. Now when you're cleaning electronics, you really want to be using like 99% isopropyl alcohol, but I didn't have any on hand. All I had was this 50%, and this game is worthless anyway, so I wasn't going to split hairs about it. But I just wanted to make a note saying that if you're going to clean this stuff, get as high of a percentage as you can. And here's what it looks like all cleaned up. So there's only so much we can do with this. I mean, the label is damaged. We can't fix it. The end label is also gone. But the rest of the card cleaned up just fine. I mean, this game is worthless, but I don't own it, so I'm just going to put it right into my collection. You know, these are the things that I don't mind picking up for a couple bucks and restoring, because this is either just going to go to a landfill or just sit in somebody's basement and rot. It's no biggie for a couple bucks to throw it into the collection. Wheel of Fortune Family Edition was released in 1990. It follows a TV game show where you spin the wheel and attempt to solve the current puzzle from a random category. You're able to play with up to 3 players or have the computer fill in for the extra contestants. The Family Edition boasts having over 1,000 new puzzles as well as hours of fun for the whole family. And there's both the games all cleaned up from the Craigslist pickup. $9 for the pair is a great deal. Both games I didn't have, so they're going right into the collection. So this is going to be the last trip to the flea market pretty much for the year. There is an inside portion, but no one's really going to be outside. It's just too cold, and the inside is pretty much dead, so I don't know if I'm really going to be going. But let's check it out. Here, first thing I see is this table of games. Now, there's a reason I didn't pick anything up here. I think that everything on here was $10 a piece for the games. There's some box Genesis stuff, just mostly sports games. There's some Super Nintendo stuff there too. And there's a bunch of disc-based games here. There is a copy of Mafia 2 in there, which is an amazing game. If you guys can find it cheap, definitely pick it up. I loved that game when I played through it. Call of Duty, there's Connected Ventures, I think. There's some Maddens. Pretty much 10-footer city. It's mostly all just junk. There's some wrestling games here, Guitar Hero 3. There's Sneak King back there, which is the Burger King game, which gets way more hate than it deserves. The whole trilogy of the games really do, in my opinion anyway. They're not great, but they're not AAA titles or anything. Skate 2. There's some Xbox One stuff in here. There's RBI Baseball, Madden 25, Godfather, Grand Theft Auto 5. There's some PlayStation stuff here. I mean, honestly, it's in nice shape, but it was just too expensive. That's why I left all this stuff behind. Monopoly. Zumba, so a bunch of Xbox One stuff here. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, which I know is trash. Hangover. The only one I was going to pick up here was Monopoly. Of course, I open it and then NBA 2K14 is in there. Then I find NBA 2K14 and there's nothing in there. So that was the end of that. Now here's a guy who I bought a bunch of stuff from here before. Everything in here is $1 a piece. There's some games in here, NHL 13, Rainbow Six. I saw Alone in the Dark there. Nothing crazy, nothing I really want. I mean, it's $1. You can't really beat that. There's Lego Star Wars. I don't know why I didn't pick that up. Masters. Monty Python and the Holy Grail right there. Yeah, there's a bunch of movies. This was some games mixes in. Here was a nice find. This is a sealed copy. There's a Blu-ray and 2 DVDs of Mulan and Mulan 2. For $1, yeah, I'm picking that up. And then a bunch of other trash in here. 10-footers, ATV Off-Road Fury, which actually isn't bad, but I already have that game. George of the Jungle. And now here's some stuff that was individually priced, still not expensive, $2, $3, $4. Now there's this copy of Crash Tag Team Racing, which I should have left behind because it was a bit scratched, but I did see that they had a Crash Nitro Kart in there as well, so for $4 I picked it up, but I should have left it behind. Now here's a lady who said everything on her booth was $2 a piece or 3 for $5, and I must have got here right when she came out because there's some pretty good stuff here. First off is this Batman animated Blu-ray. I don't actually know exactly what that one is. Now here's a copy of Viva Pinata, which I've been wanting to try out, and then look at this copy of Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. $2 a piece, or actually less because it was 3 for $5. And that disc is in pretty nice shape. And then this Viva Pinata is in one of the weirdest cases you'll ever see. It actually had everything in there as well as this preview DVD. I'm not exactly sure what's on that. So yeah, I mean, can't really beat that. Here is a remote control centipede. These things just freak me out, especially after watching the Indiana Jones movie where it crawls down the back of her shirt. Not for me. Here are some Xbox 360 controllers and then some games. And of course, the games are going to be stolen because that's how it goes here. There's Minecraft, gone. What do we got next? What is that? Grand Theft Auto? There's just the install disc. You can't really play it. And then just trash 10-footer sports games. Here is a like-new DualShock 3 controller, which I bought for my girlfriend because she needed one. It was $10, can't beat that. Here's a copy of Offspring Smash. Now, I saw them a couple months ago on their tour this year, and this is easily their best album. 25 cents for that, I was definitely going to pick it up. Here's one of the things I really wanted was this Persona 4 DVD set, or soundtrack set. The guy would not sell this to me. He said he was putting something together, which I don't really know what there is to put together, but he said it wasn't for sale, which sucked because I love Persona 4, and I really would have liked to have picked this up. This is the Japanese release, I believe. As the pattern follows, here's Persona Q, and it's stolen, or just gone, lost. Here is a bin of Captain Crunch plushies. Just wanted to show that off. Here's a Sega Saturn. Now, someone swiped this out from under me, but still, I wasn't going to pick it up anyway because it was $60. And what do we have here? Oh, there's a plug-and-play. Now, this thing is junk. There's some built-in games, but on the back, it actually has a spot for a Famicom game to be plugged in. Now, this is easily the best score of the day for me. All the CD-based games here were $3, and all the Kart-based games were $5 a piece. I must have got here right when this guy was putting this stuff out, because there's Pokemon Stadium, which I was easily going to grab. There's Jeopardy down there. There's some sports games, Army Men, Air Combat, Super Scope 6. What else we got here? NBA Jam is there. Overall, nice selection. I don't know what that game is with no label. And then there's that brand new PlayStation Multitap. Maybe I should have picked that up. I don't even remember seeing it, actually. What do we got here? Star Wars. We got more Star Wars, some bass fishing stuff. Morrowind. I mean, complete for $3. It's a great deal. What else we got here? Some bass fishing game. Indiana Jones, Metroid Prime. You know I'm picking those up. And then there's a thing of controllers, which we'll get to over there in a minute. Here's Metroid Prime. It's complete. It's in pretty nice shape. And the X-Men Mutant Academy was the first one I picked up. Now here's this Indiana Jones game, The Emperor's Tomb. This is the Xbox release, obviously. I don't think this came out on anything else. Now, I do already own Pokemon Stadium, but the label for my game is pretty much toast, so I definitely wanted an upgrade. And then there's Turok. And then Army Men Air Combat. Now, the one thing, this guy would not negotiate with the price with me at all. I put a little bundle together. He would not budge on the price. I think it came to 19. Yeah, 19, 3 disc-based games and 2 kart games, so 19. And he would not budge, not even to 18. I don't know why I didn't pick up that Jeopardy, because I actually don't own that game. There's South Park, Madden. Just a bunch of random stuff. And so as I'm walking out, here's all the controllers on here. There's actually more games on here too. There's an NES controller in there. There's a PS1 controller, the ONE one, the mini model. More Madden. What else we got? Some baseball. There's a copy of Perfect Dark. $5 is a good deal. The game is honestly not really worth that much. That's why I left it behind, because I already have it. You know, $5 is still good if you're looking for it. It's a great game. What else we got here? Pilot Wings. Some staples. $5, not bad. Oh, by the way, this is the guy who I got Final Fantasy III from in the second video, which I will link somewhere in here if you guys haven't seen that one. I didn't get footage of me actually picking it up, but this is the booth that I got it from. And, you know, just a bunch of random stuff here. Now, I do see this N64 controller here, and it actually had a Rumble Pack in it. The guy said he wanted $5. Then someone else said, no, you got to charge him for the Rumble Pack too. So he said, now I want $10. And I said, that's fine. I'm just going to leave it behind. And then, of course, as I was leaving, he said, you know what? I'll just give you both for $5. So this is a controller I had been looking for, and the Rumble Pack was in excellent shape. No battery corrosion. It wasn't yellowed. It was great. So that was a nice score for $5. Now, here's a guy who just has random stuff. Tools. Here's a bunch of CDs. There's probably Christmas decorations around here, just all kinds of stuff. And there's a good selection here. Look at this, Peace Sells But Who's Buying, one of my favorite Megadeth records. Not the best, that's Rust in Peace. Here's Appetite for Destruction, which is my favorite album of all time. Then we got some Pantera in here, one of my favorite bands ever. There's Reinventing the Steel, although not their best album, but still fine. And then as I'm going through here, look at this, a complete copy of Mario Kart 8 in this bin. I asked the guy how much he wanted for it. He said, just give me $1. Now here's a lady who had some N64 stuff. This stuff is actually written on it with marker, the prices. Nothing here I really wanted. What do we got? $12, $2 for that game. That game stinks anyway, but it's playable. And then here we have this N64. It says $80 on it. It's written in marker. I don't know if you can see it. No expansion pack. And overall, it's just too expensive. Okay, and here's the stuff I ended up picking up at the flea market. First is Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. It came with a Blu-ray and DVD. Nice little package. And DC actually makes good animated films. Next is Viva Pinata. This is a game that I just been wanting to try out because I don't really know anything about it. It was made by Rare, and it just seems like a quirky game. It just has this ridiculous case. Viva Pinata was developed by Rare and released in 2006 exclusively for the Xbox 360. The game is in the life simulation genre as it centers around cleaning, building, and maintaining a garden. The game was originally scheduled to be a mobile exclusive game before Rare was purchased by Microsoft in 2002. Viva Pinata has received 3 sequels, 2 on the Xbox 360 and a handheld release on the Nintendo DS. Next up is Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. Now this game is just classic to me. I used to love playing the Spyro games back in the day when I had my PS1. Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage was developed by Insomniac Games exclusively for the PlayStation and released in 1999. The game came out only 1 year after the original Spyro the Dragon game, and Ripto's sequel was released exactly 1 year after. Ripto's Rage finds Spyro and Sparks progressing through levels while acquiring talismans and orbs to unlock other levels in the game. The original Spyro trilogy received an HD re-release in 2018 titled Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Here is a 3-disc special edition of Mulan. Both movies come on their own individual DVDs, and then they're both put together on a single Blu-ray. So there's a great deal for $1. I'm just going to give this to my nieces. And here's Crash Tag Team Racing and Crash Nitro Kart. Now, I should have left this behind. It was $4 for both games, but they are a little too scratched, and the games aren't expensive to begin with. So again, I should have just left it behind, and I should not have picked this up. But they are buff now, and they work fine. Crash Tag Team Racing was released in 2005 for the GameCube, PlayStation 2, PSP, and Xbox. Tag Team Racing is the third Crash Bandicoot kart racing game in the line following Crash Team Racing and Crash Nitro Kart. The game includes a platforming section as well as a kart racing section. Tag Team Racing uses the same mechanic as Mario Kart Double Dash, where 2 racers are able to occupy a single vehicle and work together to win a race. However, Double Dash was released 2 years prior to Tag Team Racing. Okay, here's Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. Cool game. This is in actually really nice shape and complete. There's been a ton of Indiana Jones games over the years, and they're all actually pretty good. I used to love the Super Nintendo one. Here's Metroid Prime, also complete in excellent shape. This series is just so good. It took Metroid in such a different direction, and it just works so well that it's become a staple in the GameCube library. Metroid Prime was developed by Retro Studios, published by Nintendo, and released in 2002 exclusively for the Nintendo GameCube. It's the 4th game released in the Metroid series and the first Metroid game released for the GameCube. Metroid Prime is also the first time that the series used first-person gameplay. However, it still uses many of the previous Metroid mechanics like the morph ball, weapons, and shooting doors to open them. Metroid Prime is able to connect to the Game Boy Advance and link to Metroid Fusion to gain extra features. The Prime series became a trilogy and was later released collectively for the Wii as the Metroid Prime Trilogy. Now here is X-Men Mutant Academy for the PS1. This is complete and actually in really nice shape. Now I found X-Men Mutant Academy 2 at the beginning of the year at some point, so it was nice to find the first one here. X-Men Mutant Academy was published by Activision in 2000 for the PlayStation and Game Boy Color, and is a tie-in to the first live-action movie. The game is a 1v1 2D fighter that uses 3D backgrounds. There are 10 different playable characters in the PlayStation version, and the Game Boy Color version includes 2 exclusive characters. Similar to Street Fighter, the game features a 6-button layout as well as a meter to build up special attacks. X-Men Mutant Academy was followed up by 2 sequels, X-Men Mutant Academy 2 in 2001 and X-Men Next Dimension in 2002. Alright, so now on to the Nintendo 64 stuff. Here's Army Men Air Combat. Now this game isn't really worth that much, but I didn't have it. Army Men Air Combat was developed by 3DO and released in 1999 for PlayStation, 2000 for Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Color, and 2001 for PC. It's the 6th game in the Army Men series. The game follows Captain William Blade through a series of 3D helicopter missions. Overall, there are 12 missions as well as multiple pilots and helicopters to unlock throughout the playthrough. Army Men Air Combat was produced in a green as well as gray cartridge like the other Army Men games that were released on the Nintendo 64. And here's Pokemon Stadium. One of the reasons this game always stuck out to me is because on the label it has a little box for you to write your name in. Pokemon Stadium was developed by Nintendo and was released in 2000 exclusively for the Nintendo 64. The game revolves around fighting all 151 original Pokemon in 3D arenas. The transfer pack came bundled with the game and makes it one of only 7 games released in North America to take advantage of the peripheral. Although you can exchange Pokemon between the N64 and Game Boy, Pokemon Stadium does not have an actual storyline. Pokemon Stadium received a sequel on the Nintendo 64 in 2001 titled Pokemon Stadium 2, and one in 2004 on the GameCube titled Pokemon Coliseum. And here's this third-party Ultra Racer 64 controller. It's essentially just a Nintendo 64 controller in a different formation to be more geared towards racing games. It's just an oddball thing I've been looking to pick up. And here's the Rumble Pack. It's just in great shape. It's gray. There's no battery corrosion. That's the way you want to find those things. Both of those for $5 was a great deal. And finally, here's Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U, probably my favorite game in the entire series. Now, this game does work. Make sure that you test every single Wii U game that you get as soon as you get it, because a lot of them will not work from the factory. They can look flawless and they still will not read. Mario Kart 8 was developed by Nintendo and released in 2014 exclusively for the Wii U. The game is the 8th release in the Mario Kart series. It adds anti-gravity mechanics to the game and is also the first appearance of the Koopalings and Baby Rosalina. Multiple DLC packs were released for the game, including tracks and characters from The Legend of Zelda, Animal Crossing, Excite Bike, and F-Zero. Altogether, there are 48 tracks spanning 12 cups. The game was also later released for the Nintendo Switch in 2017 with all previously released content titled Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Well, that's all the stuff that I picked up recently. What have you picked up? What have you been playing? Thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay nerdy.
Getting your nerd on, getting your nerd on, getting your nerd on.
I got a raging nerd on.